This conference will now be recorded.
Hello and welcome. Well, let's talk about presenting life insurance. Not really the presentation, but just kind of starting a conversation or transitioning into a conversation. Without further ado, let's begin. The agenda, we can start when you're dealing with a client, you can start off with life insurance during the conversation and maybe doing a policy review, or even with a new client as you're discussing coverages, you can pivot over to life. One more of a direct approach is just making it part of your insurance portfolio by adding it in automatically with a new account or even with a policy review. That, hey, another thing I want to add in is a life insurance policy. Or you can catch it on the tail end, the old Columbo, oh, by the way, and then ask about life insurance then. Let's talk about some of these approaches. All right. We do need to understand why life. Now, I know you're going to hear a lot of, and I pitch it out too, sell life to save your renewal commissions. Sell life because it generates more business to your agency. Yes, you want to sell life because it's glued to the household. The more policies they have with you, the more they're going to stay with you. And life insurance is that glue. It's more of a long-term contract. Okay. Um, but there's more. It's not just you, it's people need it. And so we're looking at some statistics that I got from LIMRA, Life Insurance Marketing and Research Association. The overall need for life insurance is higher among women, 44%, than among men, 38%. And the difference is found among non-owners. That means people that don't have it and they want it. Okay. Um, Race and ethnicity, there's another avenue. Respondents identifying as Hispanic or Black express highest need for life insurance, 49%. This suggests present day interest from 23 million Hispanics and 16 million Black consumers, and is going up. And so you want to understand that, the demographics, and also household income. The need is highest among people who earn less than 50,000 a year in a household, indicating they want interest. 35 million Americans are in this group. This may be a challenging segment to serve given they have limited financial resources, but there is a high level of need. Okay, so among respondents earning about 50 to 150,000 a year, 39% say they need life insurance or they need more. But even the affluent people over 150,000 a year, sorry, represents about 17 million in potential life insurance buyers. So the market's there. All right. You want to target your advertising, marketing, and going after the people in that realm, and be ready for that conversation. Okay. Reasons as to why there is a need gap. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why, but in doing a survey, they found out that a lot of people have some misconceptions about what life insurance entails. So they either perceive it as it being too expensive. Some people feel that they have other financial priorities. That means, the money's tight and they don't have the money for the life insurance at this point in time, right? And a lot of people just don't know how much they should have, and what type to buy. And so I would say there is a lack of education out there in the environment. And if you want to have lunch and learns, educate people about what's available, what's out there. You may get a couple prospective customers in that meeting of, hey, why don't we get together? Let me give you a couple options. I just want to ask you a couple questions first, do that needs analysis. There's so many ways to reach that group, but a lot of it's just not getting the information out there and making it available to people. All right. So something to consider. You got to have stories. All right. You got to have stories where they had insurance. In these two situations, they had some stories where they've continued their livelihood and they've grown from there, because there was life insurance. But you also have to have stories where they didn't have life insurance and how their life was kind of overturned, and has changed dramatically, because if the breadwinner is gone, then everything kind of stops. Okay, and it's a struggle, it's a hustle. Um, but have some stories ready. I would go to limra.org and review some of the stories that they have. They do have a couple of little videos that you can click on and watch just to absorb some stories to use in your conversation, in your presentation, of why you feel people should have it. Okay. An easy way to start a conversation is just keep it simple. I mean, we've done this with just a napkin at Starbucks when we met some people. Just strike up a conversation. They ask them what they do, they ask you what you do, and say, "Hey, I'm learning something. Check this out." And then on a little napkin, draw a house, draw a car, and draw a stick figure family. You know, I mean, what do you value the most? Your home, your car, your family. Well, most people they're going to say family's priority. Second is going to be the house if they have one, right? Third would be the car. Okay, so knowing that, what have you currently protected with insurance? And now, so if you have a home, you've got a mortgage, you got to have insurance. If you have a car, in order to drive it, you're required to have liability coverage. But you just said the family is the most important thing to you. And what have you put in place to protect them? Okay, what protects them is life insurance. So if you don't have some, I'd love to meet with you and we can review a couple options for you to fit your budget and get you adequate coverage, just in case. And so you're kind of introing into a conversation about life insurance. And this is an easy way to kind of tease them into moving and having a conversation with you. It doesn't mean you're going to get the sale, but at least you're moving forward towards that sale. You can even ask up front. If a customer comes in, or maybe you're selling an auto or home policy, I mean, have this script down. Hey, I know you're here to discuss your auto, home, or umbrella coverage. We'll get to that in just a minute. I have to ask, other than with your work, who do you have your life insurance with? Right? And if they don't, then great, it's something we should put into place. It's something I want to take in consideration in putting together a proposal for you. Okay. But if they do have it, the next question would be, is it enough or is it too much? A lot of people, they shake their head too much, right? Well, I don't know. So why don't we do a quick needs analysis to see how much you need, minus what you have. And maybe we can set something to fill in the gap. Or if you have enough, I'll tell you have enough. All right. So, but let's see what you need. We can provide a proposal that can save you money on your auto and or your home insurance because we do have those multi-policy discounts. So it's something you want to present, something you want to pitch right at the beginning of your conversation. So when you do pitch their auto quote, you can say, now with the life insurance, it saved you this much money. Without life insurance, it's going to cost you this much more. Okay. So it's something you just want to present. I always look at our job is to educate and offer. So your job is to make a decision on what you want to do. But in order to make a decision, you got to have all the facts. And so here's a couple options. This is how it works. This is with, this is without. What do you think? And let them shop. Okay. But you got to present it. Another way, I love this method. Gather information because I kind of want to know how they're thinking, what they're thinking. And so pitch it in a different way. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the likelihood of you purchasing a life insurance policy? Now, if they're like most people, they'll probably come up with a low number, like 3. Okay. So it's kind of low. Most people would probably shrug that, but I want to dive in a little deeper and I'm going to ask them, why didn't you choose a lower number? Because they're gonna give me the reasons why they know they should have it. And then my next question, if you chose 3, what would it take to get you to a 4? And so they're going to tell me what's lacking as far as why they're not moving forward. And so you get into what their thought process is a little bit, which is going to help you in catering and having a good conversation with them to move them forward towards a sale. This one's awesome. You got to practice it. You got to try it out. Okay. So it just gives you more insight with who you're talking to. And like I said, their thought process. Okay. You can pivot to life insurance. If you're selling them an auto insurance policy, then explain how their auto insurance policy works. And this is where you have stories. Right? So with your existing auto insurance, you have $100,000 of bodily injury liability. Story number one, you're driving down the road, not paying attention. You look down to your phone because you just got a text. You're not reading it. You're not going to touch it, but you had to see who it's from. And by the time you look up, you see brake lights ahead of you. You hit your brakes. Too late. You impact the car ahead of you. Your $100,000 of bodily injury liability is going to cover that person's medical bills because they're injured in the accident you caused. Okay. So that's how that works. It's going to cover, the ambulance ride, while they're in the hospital, they're racking up medical bills. And because they're in the hospital, they're probably not working. So that also covers lost wages. So there's story number one. Story number two, same story, kind of you're driving down the road, not really paying attention. You look down at your phone, you saw you got a text, you look up, you see brake lights, too late, you hit your brakes, boom, you impact the car ahead of you. And you actually kill the person in the car ahead of you. Your $100,000 of bodily injury liability on your auto policy is now that family's life insurance. Now, if that's the breadwinner that you just took out, is that $100,000 enough to cover their living expenses, cover their mortgage, put money in a college fund for the kids' education for their future? Because if that person was still alive and working, contributing financially, that's what they would be doing. And since you took them out, you're that income replacement. And so that's your liability coverage can now be life insurance for someone else. Scenario number three, well, same scenario, right? You're driving down the road, not paying attention or looking down, checking your cell phone. You look up, brake lights, hit your brakes, too late. You impact the car ahead of you. Now, how about if you died in the same accident you caused? If you're hitting them and your bodily injury liability gives them $100,000 of death protection, that covers them. What do you leave in your family? So do you have life insurance? And if you don't have life insurance, then we got to take a closer look at this. That means you'd rather give a stranger more money if you died in an accident or that you killed them in an accident than you'd want for your own family if you died in the same accident. That kind of seems backwards. So would you mind if we put something in place so that should something happen, knock on wood that it doesn't, your family does have something to look out for, okay? So you kind of want to pitch it, practice it, rehearse it, but explain how coverage works, right? And show them that you've got some gaps in your coverages. And this is something that we can help by taking and putting something in place to look out for your family, all right? And so that's life insurance. So there you go. Make it part of their insurance portfolio. All right, so how are you creating a tax-free income for retirement? So we know people are saving money, right? And a lot of people are saving for retirement, but a lot of people don't understand their investments, and they think when they're putting money in their 401k that at retirement when they take it out, it's tax-free. A lot of people have that thought process, and it's incorrect. The money you're setting aside pre-tax in your 401k is your income earnings. And all you're doing is putting in an account and not paying taxes on it now. But eventually when you take it out, it's income, you'll have to pay taxes on it later. Okay. And so you'll have less later on, especially if they raise the tax rates at retirement. So when you're taking that money out, it's fully taxable, but now you're in a higher tax bracket. So you're going to take less from it. So you want to educate people. Do you know what your largest expense is? And when people say, maybe a car payment or maybe a mortgage, it's actually taxes. Okay, so we have a program to where you can set money aside after tax, let it grow on a tax deferred basis, and when you need it, you can access it tax free. And so you can avoid that expense of paying taxes on some of the money that you're setting aside. Third one, have you ever lost money in the stock market? Yeah, people have. Those that invest, they probably have. So how about if we have a program where you can save money, taking advantage of these tax shelters or tax breaks that you can get, that you'll never lose from the lack of growth, or I guess a negative return in the stock market. Okay, so we do have some fixed products like our Index Universal Life where you get the gains of an index indirectly with a guaranteed minimum. So you can't lose money, okay, from the growth or lack of growth in the cash value of the policy. Did you know there are products available that will pay tax-free income if you live too long or die too soon? And so, yeah, life insurance is that type of product. Okay, so if you live too long, you can access the cash value on your permanent policies, take tax-free loans and withdrawals. And if you pass away, the face amount death benefit gets paid to your named beneficiary, income tax-free. And so there are some programs out there. And these are just some nuggets of benefits that life insurance offers that you want to be comfortable with in your conversations with people. All right. Automatically add it to your proposal. And so I met with Nadia Cortez. She's a farmer's agent over in Texas. And what she does is she adds a life insurance policy to every new customer, especially younger families. She calls it a new family starter pack, which is like an auto, a renter's, and a life insurance policy. And she doesn't really give them much of an option. She explains, I threw this in there for you because you got minor children and you got to have something in place just in case something happens. Okay. And she'll throw in like a value term policy with it. So, and it's just built in. So there's really not a lot of pushback. People just say, okay, because it makes sense. So it's something you can do when you have a new client. It's just build it into the program. When you're doing policy reviews, same thing. Throw it into the mix and present it that way. To a new business customer, this is kind of the back end. Now that we've wrapped up with your auto or your home, now you're a preferred client of my agency and Farmers. My goal for all my preferred clients is to provide them with a free evaluation of their retirement and life planning. The truth of it is that you probably have this totally under control, but as a preferred client of our agency, this is a free service. The easiest way that we found to do this is to take an additional 3 minutes to gather some additional information. So let's go ahead and get that wrapped up right now. So I'm going to do an evaluation. If you hear back from me, then there are some things that I'm concerned about or that you should be concerned about regarding your retirement and life. You may come up short on some goals that you want to accomplish based on your information. If you don't hear back from me, then you're in good shape. And so you're just asking a couple more questions. You're doing the needs analysis, right? We're going to get some information to you because through FFS, there are a couple needs analysis questionnaires that you can use, take advantage of, even though you're not FFS licensed. There are some questions that you can ask and gather some data to give a meaningful recommendation. So, but it's a way of presenting it and making a pitch, right? Whenever you pitch, you're going to get some pushbacks, okay? The 4 biggest objections that you're typically going to have are no time, no need, no money, no trust. So knowing these are the most common objections, if one of them comes up, you have to have a response to overcome it and pulverize that objection. And so knowing that, I would probably restructure your presentation where these objections don't come up because you've already answered it in your conversation about it. So the no need, that's a common one. I don't think I need it. Great. I'm going to ask why. If we're sitting down and I'm offering life insurance, why would you consider getting it? And some people may say they don't need it. Okay, got it. Okay, so we're not going to pitch life insurance for life insurance. So my next avenue is, okay, great. Are you saving for retirement? Okay, most people say, yeah, I'm starting to. Okay, where are you saving your money? And they'll give you something, maybe a mutual fund, maybe right now it's just in a bank. Okay, that means if it's in a mutual fund or in a bank or it's in stocks or bonds, every year they get a 1099 and they got to pay taxes on it. So how about if we take your money from this taxable bucket and move it to a tax sheltered bucket, right, where your money grows tax deferred? So you don't get a 1099 every year. You don't have to pay taxes on the gains every year. It kind of grows on itself and continues to grow. Okay. And we can use life insurance. So you're buying life insurance for the tax advantages to grow your money on a tax deferred basis and be able to access it basically tax free in the future. And so now we're kind of helping them create that need and having conversations with them. No time. This is where you just want to pitch out a question during your conversation of when's the best time to buy life insurance? Most people say, well, when you're young or when you're healthy. Got it. So right now would be the best time. You see, you're not going to be younger than where you are right here, right now. And most people will not be healthier than where they are right here, right now. So now would be the best time. Would you agree? And most people say, yeah. And so we pulverize that to where they can't say, I don't have time, because they just agreed now is the best time. So we want to move forward with this. No money, I get it. Okay. Maybe they're allocating funds elsewhere. And so here's where you can look at some undiscovered discounts. I think we had an item go out that Rachel sent out just recently about they had some discounts that they weren't aware of that they could take advantage of. One of it's life insurance, and it can save you a little bit off your auto and your home policies. That frees up some money. You can raise your deductibles on auto and home if they're not high already, and that could free up additional money for them to put that money aside towards life insurance for their family. Okay. As far as trust, if they're already a policyholder and they've been with you a couple of years, they already trust you. They're trusting you with their other insurances, those must-have insurances like their homeowners or their auto policy. So why wouldn't they trust you in pitching life insurance? So that you're their one-stop financial shopping center for their insurance needs. And so you got to pitch it. Okay, if you don't ask, you don't get. So you want to ask, especially to people that you've had as customers for quite a period of time. And if they have insurance somewhere else, great, applaud them. And by the way, would you mind if I got the company name and the policy number for my records so that I can be a resource for you and your family if something happens, even though the insurance isn't with me, I can help provide information so they can go and collect from the insurance that you have in place, right? And document it in their file, because that can happen. Or someone doesn't come home at night, you have their auto and home, the family comes out, knocks on your door and saying, you're the agent, did they have life insurance? And you can respond with, unfortunately not with me. However, I did take some notes. They do have it with ABC Company. In fact, here's the policy number. And so you can help them out and come from an advisory role to assist them in that situation. Okay, so you'll get some referrals out of that. So no doesn't mean no, it just means not now. But do your due diligence, document your conversations. And if a customer says, no, I'm not interested in life insurance, got it, not a problem. Just to let you know that every time I see you, every time we do our annual policy reviews, I'm going to ask for that order because I think it's the most important product that we offer. And I think everyone should have it in their household. And so I'm going to ask for that ticket every time, ask for that order every time we get together, just so you know. And so you're letting them know that you're going to pitch it, right? So there's no surprises. All right. It's that time again. Here comes next year, annual policy review. It's that time again. And I put together a couple proposals for you I'd like you to consider and then pitch it. Because eventually something's going to happen in their life, friend, relative, something in the news is going to trigger them where they're going to think, maybe I should get some. Maybe I should get some life insurance. And so they think of you because you're the one who's been pitching it, and they'll come back to you and ask for that order. All right. So, but you got to pitch it. That's kind of what this training was about, to pitch it. Be ready for some objections, have some nuggets in your tool belt to be able to offset and overcome objections to move the conversation forward, right, and get closer towards that sale. So don't sell life insurance. Sell what life insurance can do. So a lot of times we think it's just a product. And no, it's basically, it's an intangible that provides money to people you love when you're not here. But it helps them carry on and move forward and have them live the life that you intended them to have. Okay, so you want to express the benefits of it. And again, this is where the stories come in, whether they had it or whether they didn't have it, and show the contrast. All right. So with that, thank you for watching this. I hope you got something out of it. Hope you can put some things in place. And if you do have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us here at the district office. So have a great day, everybody.